Crazy old woman thinks no one should be allowed to eat food in hotels because she can smell it. For context, I work at a small 62-room property where we only have one desk attendant on shift at a time. As such, we do solid 8-hour shifts and don't get actual breaks. We take breaks to eat when we have the chance. It's currently in the middle of our slow season right now, and there is very, very little to deal with during my shift, so I can take a break to eat pretty much whenever I want. I was taking a moment to eat some dinner when an older woman came in through the lobby door. She just walked straight through into the hotel, and I had no reason to think anything of it. A few minutes later, she comes back through the front door again. This time, she still walks straight through but gives me this weird glaring kind of look as she does. It should be noted that anytime anyone comes through the lobby, I am always standing, ready to greet and assist them, unless occupied with another guest, of course. 5 or so minutes go by, and this time she comes back through the lobby again, but from the inside of the hotel, going out the front door. Once again, giving me a strange glare as she does so, but not stopping or saying anything to me. This happens 2 more times until the last time she stops in the middle of the lobby and just stares at me. I ask her if I can assist her with anything, and she says, "I can smell food and I can tell that you've been eating." Internally, I'm thinking, okay, and? I tell her, yes, I've been taking a break for dinner. She tells me that I am not allowed to eat while I am on the job, and that she is going to report me. I tell her that is not true, and as we do not get breaks, we are perfectly allowed to consume food whenever we like. She snaps back with saying, "Don't lie to me, I'll be having a word with your manager," and wanders off. About 10 minutes or so later, I get a call from the woman from her room where she states, "I can smell your food in my room and you need to stop eating." Now, this is getting really strange and ridiculous. This woman is literally on the other end of the hotel, and there is quite frankly no possible way that she can smell my food outside of the lobby, let alone somehow across the hotel in her room. I'm right out done with this woman and her ridiculousness at this point, and tell her that quite plainly that there is no way she could be able to smell my food from her room, and she can speak with the owner in the morning who will confirm to her that I am permitted to eat while on shift. She, yelling at this point, says, "This whole hotel smells like food because of you and it's ruining my stay. If you don't fix this problem, I will be contacting your corporation and filing a formal complaint." I had long been done eating my very much not at all frequent turkey sandwich at this point, and decided to wander down to where her room was to see if there were any offending smell wafting about down there. I get to the end of the hall where her room is at, and it does in fact smell like food down that way. It smells like someone in a room nearby had microwaved some delicious lasagna or something. I call back to her room and tell that I have investigated the problem, and that it appears that another guest of the hotel has prepared some food and apologized for the inconvenience, but that anyone is allowed to eat food here and there is nothing I can do about the fact that she can smell it. She snaps back at me saying, "This is a hotel, not a restaurant. Why would people be eating here? This should not be allowed and I am still reporting you." Yes, whatever, lady. You do you. A little while later, I get a call from a woman saying that her mother is staying at our hotel and that she had just called her very upset, saying that she felt unsafe because there were noxious fumes inside the hotel, and that her mother said she tried to report the problem to the front desk, but no one was at the front desk because they were too busy eating and were ignoring everything, and asked me if I was aware of the problem and if she needed to contact authorities because of it. At this, I could not help but let out the laugh. I explained to the daughter of this woman, who she said had to complain for her now, that the noxious fumes were someone microwaving food in a room near her, and there was certainly no hazardous substances or any threat to anyone's health at the hotel, and that I have personally spoken with her mother a number of times over the last hour. Her response surprised me. As I was prepared for more ridiculousness, she just said, "Oh, it sounds like she is in one of her moods." Sorry about that, I'll take care of it. And I haven't heard from the old woman since. What is wrong with people like this? It's like they are a classic stereotype of an old miserable person that just wants to make other people miserable in any way they can and manifest problems for them to complain about. I look forward to seeing if she reports me in the morning. Drunk asshole makes me cry, gets checked hard by my supervisor. Let me start by saying I am an actor and have worked in hospitality as my day job since I graduated undergrad almost 5 years ago. I have a thick skin and I'm good at compartmentalizing and not taking things personally. However, I am human and as we all do, I have my breaking points. This tale takes place past 2019 Christmas season. I was scheduled at my hotel Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, so I decided to stay in the city and not go home for the holidays. The second half of 2019 kicked my effing ass. I was blindsided by the man I thought I was going to spend my life with a devastating breakup in late August. I won't bore you with the details, but essentially, he got cold feet. We still love each other, and there was no other reason for the breakup. My trust in people is shattered, and my heart is beyond broken. The holidays were obviously a very special time for us, and getting through the holidays away from my family all alone without him, frankly, sucked. I have clinical depression and was just getting myself through each day, one step and 1 minute at a time. One evening, I was alone at the desk with my supervisor. Let's call him Jake. Jake is in his mid 30s, has been in hospitality since he was 18 or so, and is impossible not to like. This particular night, I had to check in tons of happy couples. I was missing my ex, my heart felt heavy, and like there was a knife in it. Basically, all night I felt like I was fighting tears. I even went into the bathroom to cry once. It's almost time to leave, lobby's quiet. Jake and I are wrapping up our work and waiting for the night auditor to show up. Enter Drunk Asshole. Drunk Asshole was a dude in his late 50s, early 60s. He stormed up to my desk and before I had even fully looked up from my computer, he lays into me. This dude wasn't talking loudly or sternly. He is towering over me and yelling at me. Apparently his keys won't work. I apologize and offer to remake them. He is clearly tipsy and yells at me, basically repeating what he said before, demanding I compensate him in some way. Our hotel is located on a street that is famous for high-end shopping in an upscale downtown neighborhood of one of the largest cities in the US. I explained that the scanners that detect stolen items in entrances of the stores often deactivate our keys. He doesn't listen. More yelling, being condescending, treating me like I'm not a human. My nose starts to sting and I feel tears welling up in my eyes. I do not want to let Drunk Asshole see me cry, so I stare down at my keyboard as I make new keys for him. He sees me crying. He stops yelling for about 3 seconds and then doubles down, continuing to tell me how completely unacceptable this situation is. I honestly tune him out at this point and just focus on not completely breaking down. Sorry for the lack of specific quotes here, but I was in a self-preservation mode the whole time. Jake has finished ringing up a few guests who were purchasing snacks from our market, and he rushes over, offering to escort the guest upstairs and make sure he is able to access his room with the new keys. The guest is pleased with this and Jake escorts him to the elevators. They disappear and I walk into the back office, put my head against the wall, let myself cry for about 15 seconds and then suck it up, fix my makeup and walk back to my desk. My phone rings, it's the room number of Drunk Asshole. I take a deep breath and answer in the most cheerful voice I can muster. Imagine my surprise when this man awkwardly apologizes to me and thanks me for doing my job, saying he knows it's hard work. I sputter out some sort of response, I don't even remember what I said, and wished him a pleasant night and holiday season. Jake returns, I say, that guy must have had a change of heart because he just called me and apologized. Jack says, well, good. I checked him in when we got into the elevator. That was so inappropriate. Apparently, the conversation went something like this. Jake, sir, the way you spoke to my associate was completely inappropriate. She's just doing her job. Drunk Asshole, starting to look embarrassed. Well, I've had a few beers. Jake, sir, you and I both know that's not an excuse. Drunk Asshole mumbles, yeah, I know, and trails off awkwardly. Here's the best part. They walk up to Drunk Asshole's room. His tipsy wife and adult son are standing there. Jake looks at the door. Sir, the reason your key wasn't unlocking the door is because your door is ajar. Jake reaches for the handle, pulls the door fully closed, slides the key in, green light, door unlocked. Drunk asshole is mortified, hurries inside, calls me to apologize. Hopefully he learned his lesson and my supervisor is awesome. Hotel security. Family leaves because their kids were loud. I got a call last week that a local hotel needed security. They do it on an as-needed basis, and I guess Friday was pretty rough with a bunch of drunk parents being loud in the lobby. They have very clearly documented quiet hours, and the owners of that particular site, though it's a change, are very strict in their quiet hours. I'm chilling in the lobby on my computer doing some stuff, and the front desk girl comes over and says, "Hey, we've got a noise complaint from room 245. Okay, I hop up and head out to see what's what. I get there and I listen for a bit at room 244. Yep, definitely kids in the room messing around being moderately loud. Now, I don't want to do paperwork, so my first step is always knock and talk. Just a, "Hey guys, it's quiet hours, please keep it down," keeps me writing just a line in the log versus a whole report. Well, someone opens the door. I think it was a girl, looks at me and slowly closes the door without even letting me speak. I'm like, okay, and I knock again. I'm ignored. Okay, whatever. I go down to the front desk, call their room phone. No answer. I call again, phone off the hook. Okay, whatever, 2 times. They quieted down, which is ultimately my goal. About 45 minutes or so later, I see some people at the front desk and I sort of overhear that they are talking about their kids being accused of being loud or whatever. The adults were off property. The front desk girl said, "Hey, we had a complaint. I sent security. We have quiet hours." The guy comes over to me, semi-huffy, as if it was completely impossible that his kids were being loud. I told him, "Listen, it was just a courtesy visit. We're in quiet hours now. We just need them to quiet down." So he argues how it wasn't his kids. It was kids in the hall, basically saying that I can't tell the difference between loud kids behind the door and kids sitting in the hallway 50 feet away around the corner. I try to clarify that this is all completely low-key. No worries on anything, just quiet down and we're good. I really didn't want to do a report, so his wife comes over and enters the bickering. And I clearly say, "Listen, no one cares. No one is in trouble. I didn't even document anything. It was just a courtesy visit to get the kids to quiet down." Well, the mother's response with, "Well, I care," and ran off in a huff. I really didn't know what they wanted from me at that point. An apology? Well, the mother was so offended that it was considered that her children were being loud, while no adult on property with them, mind you, that they insisted on leaving the hotel for another. I was at the front desk after taking another walk of the property when they checked out. The father goes, "There will be no charge." The clerk goes, okay. The father then demands a receipt for his free stay, and this killed me. The clerk prints up his ledger for $0. I turn to her after they left and I go, "You didn't refund him, did you?" She says, "No, I just gave him his ledger, which he owed $0 on, because his room was already paid for before they arrived." I lost it and gave her a nod of approval and then returned to my corner to write a 2-page report that I didn't want to have to do in the first place. So those were the stories for today. If you enjoyed this and want to watch more videos, then click here for more stories or go check out the info cards in the right corner for more videos.